I am very, very glad to see you. Thank you so much for checking us out here on Do Not Talk, talking about two things you're never supposed to talk about: religion and politics. I'm Charlie Simons, been in the media my entire adult life. Yep, got saved when I was 31. At the height of my career, I was in the fourth largest market in the nation at the time, doing a morning show, six-figure income, doing great. And then I got saved and started talking about God on the air. And Jesus, that's the name. That name has such tremendous power. I can watch people physically recoil just by saying that name. And it's not a cuss word, by the way. If I was using his name as a cuss word, I don't think they'd recoil. Just saying. So that's the power of the name, and that's why we don't use it in vain. Um, it's been a tremendous ride and such a great blessing to get to know him. It's, as Paul said, I consider all these things that I have done to be nothing, valueless, compared to the knowledge and the saving grace of Christ Jesus. So that's why that permeates so much of what I do here on this show. Yeah, we talk about politics, absolutely, but in the context of biblical principles, especially when it comes to voting. I'm always encouraging that. But I've got a friend today, and I'm so glad he's my friend. I've enjoyed knowing him now for, I think it's coming up on 2 years. How he found out about it, he called me. And I was just a little old guy starting off a little old podcast and going, we'll see how this goes. And it's grown from there. It's been exciting. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing, mainly because I still get to communicate with you. And I have a whole lot of new people, unlike when I was just on the radio in that local area. People would know who I was. Who I am is not important. What's important is content and getting things to you that I know, as somebody who's spent my life in the media, I know how they hide. I know how they operate. And trust me when I say this, the media, for the most part, is doing the devil's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short. There it is. One of the biggest ways they lie to you and shape what you think and the direction we're going, which is to hell. Sorry, their idea of their Star Trek utopia and their one world government and their new world order is absolutely going against God and God's will and God's word and God's people. So we have to get out of the way. We have to be, if we're not going to step out of the way, if we're going to sit down and shut up and be quiet, then we have to be stopped. That's how important this year is, this election year. That's how important this is, that we as believers actually get registered to vote. Only about 40% of us are registered to vote in the state of California. That's pathetic. Fix that, please. If you're in California, it's easy to do online. Register to vote at registertovote.ca.gov. Let's start there. Registertovote.ca.gov. Vote with biblical principles in mind. Just we Christians could turn this state around in one or two elections. Do you realize that? If we just took our responsibility seriously. But the media wants you to just sit down and shut up and play nice. Tell everybody that they're good. They're basically good, and everyone gets to go to heaven. Where are you reading that? Where are you seeing that? It's not in the Bible I read. Sorry. There are things going on in the world that are shocking and stunning and horrible, and you don't even know about it. And that's why I'm so glad and so happy to introduce you to my friend Sam Anthony, because he has created a way to get information out to us that is not being published or promoted or broadcast anywhere else. Why? Because it's not part of the agenda. We don't want you focusing on that. We want you looking this way. Don't look that way. Like this gentleman reports what's going on in the UK, the United Kingdom, happening now, England, Scotland, over in Ireland. Watch this.
UK right now. In my opinion, the UK's done. It's fallen. Basically, a civil war has started between the citizens of UK and the illegal immigrants that have been pouring into their country over the years. Recently, 3 kids were just stabbed by an illegal immigrant, and the citizens there have had enough. They've taken to the streets. So have the illegal immigrants, and there's been constant fights. As you can see, this guy's pretty jacked up. There's a lot of these illegal immigrants running around with machetes, knives, and hammers. If you don't think that this isn't going to happen in the United States, you're stupid. Because keep in mind, these people have had free flights, free bus rides, free hotels, free food, a monthly allowance. And all that it would take to spark this off is then be notified, well, we ran out of money, we're done, sorry, can't take care of you anymore. That's all it's going to take for these people to just pop off. I for sure think it's on the way at some point. By the way, for those of you that are anti-Second Amendment, you're going to beg to be friends with people like me when this pops off.
I have been saying, oh my goodness, wow. I've been saying this for so long that my apologies. I've been saying that for so long that everybody makes fun of the rednecks until the zombie apocalypse. And then suddenly, wait, oh, Charlie. Oh, that's right. He's some good old boy from Bakersfield. I'll bet he's got a gun or two. The only reason why so many things don't happen in the United States of America, obviously we had a civil war, quit it. I heard it. I got it. I know. I read about it. The only reason why something like that is not happening right now already, I'm convinced, is because so many of us do have guns and ammunition to go into the guns. We've actually been prepared for that. Don't want it. Don't want that to happen. Not at all. I'm a fun-loving guy. I'd rather be having a good time and joking around and talking with my friend Sam Anthony about the shape of media and how to make it better and how to improve it. And if we can't do that, screw them. We'll do our own thing. That's where Sam Anthony comes in with Your News, yournews.com. Made in America. Let's get to it with him. I'm looking forward to you meeting him. He's a lot of fun. And right now, I have to do some editing on this, Sammy. I've got a new program here, and it's unfortunately kind of messed me up. There we go. You want something more professional? What do you want? It's free. Sam Anthony coming up with yournews.com. How do we disseminate information out to the world and keep it local all at the same time? That's quite a challenge. And he's done it. And he's my guest on Do Not Talk. Hit it.
Yep, here he comes. Riding his trusted steed through the Sierra foothills as he brings you the news. Oh yeah, oh yeah. He calls himself
Charlie.
What you doing, Charlie?
Sorry, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. There you are. Look how cute you are. Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. What's with the dark glasses?
And now, here he is, a man of God, living in a world of Disney.
Ow, Charlie!
Charlie Simons.
Charlie bit me.
Brought to you by our friends at MyPillow, mypillow.com. And it's Mike Lindell, a true American patriot who put everything on the line, including his own fortune that he had made from inventing the greatest pillow I've ever had in my life. I've had mine now for 12 years. Just washed it yesterday, as a matter of fact. Yes, washed it. You put it in the washing machine, comes out fantastic. It has never degraded. It's never eroded. It's never failed. It's got a 10-year money-back guarantee. Mine's going on 12, and I don't want my money back. It's the best pillow I've ever used. It changed my life. No more chronic neck pain. No more, always. These muscles, neck, don't have the problems anymore. And it's all because of the pillow. That's the only thing that changed. So I would love to see you get one, but if you don't have my pillow, or you already have one, well, yeah, Charlie, I agree. You're right. It's fantastic. So I've been there. No, he has over 100 products now, all made in America at his factory in Minnesota. So he put his fortune on the line saying there were serious problems with the 2020 and the 2022 election, and I'm going to show you how. And he's gotten great men like Dr. Douglas Frank and so on together in this team going, look at what they did. Look how they did it. Here's the proof of it. And now the Supreme Court has heard it. I haven't heard any ruling on that yet, but the Supreme Court finally agreed to see this evidence and to hear this evidence about election fraud. Now, what are we going to do now? Biden quit. He's not going to run again. He didn't quit. He didn't quit as president. I wish he would. But because who's running this country? Good heavens, we're in serious trouble right now. Who's running the show? And we still got until November 5th to even pull that lever, punch that card, whatever you do, fill it out, mail it in, let them steal your vote, whatever it is. We still got November 5th is a ways away. But even after that, he's not sworn in until January. My President Trump will not be sworn in until January. Look what's going on. Who's running the show? So help out men like Mike Lindell, who have put everything on the line to try and bring truth to you. And use my middle name as a promo code, and you get up to 75% off because he has over 100 different products now, all made in America. MyPillow.com/Lee. My middle name is not Do Not Talk. MyPillow.com/Lee. MyPillow.com/LEE. Wow, Sam Anthony. What's up, buddy? Let's get you in the mix. How have you been, my friend?
Charlie, great to see you. That was one hell of an introduction.
Well, yeah, I love because you're Mike Lindell to me. You've put everything on the line to bring us information that the media is ignoring. But the difference between what you're doing with yournews.com, you have is quite amazing because I don't know of anyone else doing this.
Nobody is.
You have come up with a way to actually, if all I want to know is about my local area, boom, I can narrowcast it down. I can set these parameters. This is all I want, Sam, from yournews.com. I want to know about my zip code, what's going on in my area. And I don't know of any other news platform in the media or online or alternative media that can do that. I don't know how you did it, but it's quite fantastic.
We just stumbled into it.
Is that it? By accident.
It was an accident. It was like discovering plutonium by accident.
What happened? I admire and respect what you've done. I hope you're doing well. In the newspaper business, you count how well you're doing by the circulation, right? However many people are actually buying your paper and or getting it delivered to their homes. So this is delivered right to your home. It's like a newspaper, but you also have a lot of video content, and that's why you called me. Mm-hmm. I don't know who had told you about me. Hey, there's this new guy. He's a broadcaster, San Francisco Bay Area. He's getting into podcasting, and I got like 3 calls from this guy named Sam Anthony, and I finally was able to call him back. We talked on the phone for like an hour and a half. Because you were telling me, here's what I've done. It's already going. Do you want to be a part of it? And but you vetted me first. You wanted to make sure that I was of a standard that you want. Now, I know that you definitely lowered the bar by letting me in, and I appreciate that. But thank you very much for what you're doing, because how have you compiled this team? How do you orchestrate this huge thing?
So, let me start by kind of giving your audience a description of what we do and how it works. Our platform it would look like any news website, because everybody's been to a news website. Doesn't matter if it's the Chicago Tribune or the Miami Herald. They all look very similar. Right. The difference between our platform and them is we're nationwide by zip code. So I'm in every city in the United States. So basically, I'm the local newspaper everywhere. Keep in mind, there's still a demand for news. It's how people consume it that's changed, right? And the issue that the media is facing is nothing local works on the web. So you're not going to have a local paper that just gets rid of their printing press and their print product and they go directly to online. It's been tried and failed 100 times over. It's never going to work. There's no money in it. The best description for this is, would Facebook work just for Sacramento? No. Okay. It needs scale. And by the way, everything on the internet has global scale, all the tech giants. I'm talking Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Uber, Amazon. And the reason is with the internet, the barrier to entry to go global is nothing. Right? I mean, you could instantly open up another country. For me to open up another country is just a zip code table. That's it. And then we could start working England or Canada or Mexico or wherever we decide to go. So when you understand what's happening in the media space, because if you're anybody listening to you, we're all kind of like-minded. The media is the problem. Okay, let's face it. If they were calling everything for what it really is, none of this stuff would exist. But somehow,
you're so right. You're so right. Just the other day, somebody was asking me, how did we get to this point? And I said, because the media didn't tell you it was happening.
We
would have known en masse, if we would have known what that politician was doing, what that government was doing, what that group was trying to make happen, there's no way we would have stood for it as a population.
No, and you're only as good as the information. You're only as good as the information you have, Charlie. Okay. Right. And so if what you believe is truthful is telling you a complete lie, there's no way you're going to know. There's no way you're going to know. I mean, I have my neighbors are in their 80s, their early 80s, and they believe Trump is a Russian spy. Okay. They believe and by the way, this guy's a veteran. They fly the American flag out in front of their house. They're great people, but they have no idea what something called Rumble is. Okay. They just don't. They use flip phones. They're in their early 80s, 82, I think they are. And when I tell them stuff, they're like,
the jitterbug.
Yeah.
With the screen that big.
I kind of like those phones, though. They were much more.
I know. Not hard. You can't do much wrong with them.
No.
It'll make the actual phone call.
The butt dials from time to time. But
no butt dial.
But they don't even know any of this stuff. And there's a large portion of the population that listen to the mainstream media. I mean, they still have massive influence. And so
unfortunately, about 3/4 of us are still getting our information from that.
Right. You're old enough to know, because I'm going to be 60 on my next birthday, right? In the early to mid 80s, there was over 400 independent news outlets. Somebody could have owned the Fox or CBS affiliate here. Somebody else could have owned the market in your market. And then what happens is over time, these big companies came in and bought them all out. And, I'm not telling you something you don't already know. Now there's 6 companies that control the information. It's all centralized news. You know this. And so therein lies the problem. And then you got a couple hedge funds, BlackRock and Vanguard, which control them. But that's really why we're in the situation we're in, because all the independent reporting is gone. And the validation to that is the Sinclair Broadcasting, the 30 or 50 TVs, whatever they were, all saying the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So somebody at corporate sent, however they do it, an email or their intranet, here's the message. And then it goes on a teleprompter and somebody's reading it, right? They don't know if it's true or not. They're just, reading the message. So that's why we're in the mess that we're in. Okay. But here's what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell your audience. There is a 100% chance, 100, that the media is not going to survive. Now, it's not because they're lying, because they could have been telling the truth the whole time. The problem is the older generation is only got till, what's the average person lives? 77, 76, 78, whatever. Call it 80. It doesn't matter. Now, I know you talked to Kent Emmons, because Kent Emmons told me this, but I don't know if you had a conversation with him, because I was blown away. He said to me, Sam, do you know what the average age of a cable news viewer is? And I said, well, I could guess. So what would you guess?
It's like 70.
Yeah. Okay.
70
I guess 55. He goes, no. Now, this was 2 years ago. He said it was 68, but that was 2 years ago. It's 70 years old. Now, the issue is if the average person lives to 77, can anybody do math here? Okay. I mean, it's not like they're going to go, hold on, there's one guy still watching. Let's keep it rolling.
Their audience is literally dying off. It's it's here. Let me put it in radio terms. There was a whole influx of companies that jumped to the oldies format. And they're playing stuff from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and they called it good times, great oldies. And everybody jumped on that format. At least one of their FMs was playing that. And then they started, it was huge numbers. And then they started over, a year, 2, 3, seeing their audience drop. Well, they still love the music. Absolutely. And our, what we call our core audience is still completely loyal to us, brand loyal now. And, but they're kicking it. They're dying off. So they altered the format. They went, okay, we're not going to play 50s anymore. We'll go 60s, 70s, and maybe some early 80s. And they tried to grow with those of us who are growing older. But it just got to a point to where the format fully failed. And these companies, like you're saying, they don't have listenership or viewership or readership. They're going to bail. They're going to bail on you. They're going to quit because they're not making enough money to sustain what they're doing. But we have these huge corporations, Sam, and I'm saying this and bringing Sam into this mix, not so much as a question, but so he can validate if I'm right or wrong, that don't seem to care about profit. They've been so flush with cash, and they have their State Streets and their Black Rocks and their Vanguards that are still propping them up because they've gone public. They don't care so much that they've lost so much viewership, readership, and listenership. They are on a mission. And that mission is to usher in, do their part to make sure that we all get on board with what I was talking about earlier. New World Order, the whole, as George Bush said, there's going to be what was it he said? How did he do it? The original George Bush. There's going to be well, I guess he did say New World Order, didn't he? It's going to be a New World Order. There's going to be a one system of government, and you're all going to comply. The Klaus Schwab, you'll have nothing like it, is directly out of the book of Revelation. So I know it's going to happen. But while the world is falling apart around us, we as the United States of America have several things that the Lord blessed us with. That is first of all, that Declaration of Independence, that rocked. And many of those who signed that paid for it with their lives. They don't teach that in school anymore. Also, the Bill of Rights, extraordinary. No other country has that. The United States Constitution, they don't have that. The Second Amendment and the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, but the freedom of speech has been squelched by what Sam talked about earlier. It was a change of ownership rules in the 90s. Bill Clinton really is what ushered this in. And I was saying then, there's going to be about 3 or 4 huge corporations that are going to decide everything that we see, hear, and read.
And therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
That is the problem. Okay. But here's the good news. They're not going to survive. Doesn't matter if they were telling the truth, because once their audience is gone, it's over. So you're not going to go on the internet and think you're going to make a living. It's never going to happen. You need something with massive scale. And that's where we come in. Okay. We're a daily currently, and I'm going to tell you my prediction, and I would bet my life I'm right. That being said, okay, we're going to start with one country, but here's my prediction on how news is going to be delivered in the future. It's going to end up becoming a global media giant by zip code. Kind of scary, huh? Okay. With a social component where the public can interact and share in the narrative and post their own news, views, opinions, and classifieds locally. It will have a monetization model for news reporters and audio and video content creators where they can go back to work, write a story about the bank robbery, the car crash, the city council meeting, the high school football game, and they could post it and it could be published to their market, to sports, business, politics. And then when they share that on their social media pages, their followers come to the platform to consume it because they trust that person, and they share in the ad revenue because the platform's selling the ads, right? And a self-service ad platform where people can buy their own ad. select the content they want their own ad to run around, and target it as granular as one zip code and everywhere in between. There's 100% chance that's where the world's going. That's my opinion. Now, we don't do the global piece for now, but I will.
You know what I like the most about this? It absolutely cuts out companies like Nielsen.
They're obsolete. It's like AP, gone. They're
They're
never
irrelevant, and it's about time, because they've charged so much money, and all they do is for fewer and fewer subscribers. It's been amazing to watch them implode. But what Nielsen is it used to be just television. Now it's also, they took over radio as well, and
it's all antiquated.
they have just a certain number of families, or the people meters now for radio, that actually track and monitor, because there's a silent tone we can't hear, but identifies to that tracker exactly what you're listening to and for how long. You don't even have to fill out a diary anymore like you used to, and they give you $1 or whatever it was, $10 to fill out this diary. So it's more honest than ever before, more expensive than ever before, and completely irrelevant.
Completely
That's-
irrelevant. Exactly.
Yeah. So because you have online, you already know how many clicks you got, how many people are watching. That's
You
all
want a
part of the
Rumble.
deal.
It shows exactly how many people watch the show. The
Yeah.
end. There's your Nielsen.
Right.
Okay. So that's how it is. I'm just texting someone say I got to cancel. I got one more person. But so no matter what, that's what the future of media is going to be. So to explain to your audience how the media business works, Charlie's been in it forever. He understands. Most of us have never worked in a newsroom before, but if you haven't, here's how it works. The way the media business works is people that have news will send what's called a press release to the media. And I'm talking about PR firms, nonprofits, people with opinions, et cetera, right? So if you're a local church and you're having a bake sale, somebody from the church sends an email to the newspaper and to the radio and TV station saying, here's a press release, here's what we're doing. It's up to the newspaper to print it or radio and TV to air it. What news organizations are is they're aggregators of information. Everything flows to them. They decide what they're going to air or publish. And we all know 99% of it's not going to get aired or published, simply because newspapers have a limited amount of space. If you're in a market the size of LA or Chicago or New York, do you have any idea how many people are sending you press releases every day? If you printed them all, it'd be a foot thick. Okay, so it can't be done. And radio and TV have a limited amount of time. The reason you don't watch Little League games or clips of it on your television local news channel is because there's 20 people who care. That's why they do the high school games, because there's like 50,000 people who care, right? So right. It's just all based on what viewership is going to want to see. Okay, well, what our platform is, when you log into our site, the domain is yournews.com. Your provider tells us where you live right down to the zip code. Now, some people block it, so you just enter. It says like enter your zip code. So you put in your zip code, it'll take you to your city. So imagine you're looking at any news website. But the difference between me and the local paper is I'm in every city in the United States. Okay. It's massive scale. So we have the ability to print all of this stuff because we can organize it by subject and geography. So if it's a museum closing in Chicago after 80 years, that goes in my lifestyle section in Chicago. If it's a bank robbery in Chicago, it goes under top stories, which is like the front page. If it's the high school football game, it goes in the sports section. But here's the interesting part. If it's a city council meeting in Boca Raton, that's going to go in politics, but just in the city of Boca Raton, because nobody else cares. It's just the Boca Raton residents, right? Or any city, it doesn't matter. But if it's the high school football game, it's going to go sports news, but it's going to be distributed to all the zip codes in the market. We define market by television DMA. Okay, there's 210 television DMAs. So for my market, they play from Boca Raton all the way up to Sebastian, Florida. It's Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, India River, Okeechobee County. So that content is sports news for that whole market. If it's the Monday Night Football game, it's sports news national. Okay, so we have the ability to aggregate and publish it all because there's no cost, and we can organize it by subject and geography. So what we are is an information aggregator, like every single news site on planet Earth, but we have massive scale. So our goal would be to take all the content that's being distributed to the media, have them all send it to us, bring it under one umbrella, and create one uniform media. Okay, now the reason I'm telling you this is whoever does that is the next Rupert Murdoch of the space. Okay, so what's going to end up happening is the legacy media is going to fail. What's going to replace it and become the next mainstream media is going to be something like what I do. And what I do is we have a monetization model, like everybody's familiar with YouTube. Charlie, you're familiar with YouTube, where they have a monetization model.
Yeah, I know. I've been kicked off it. So there you go.
So you could set up your own page on YouTube, and if you build a big enough audience, they'll share in the revenue with you. Well, what we do is we take an out-of-work news reporter that used to write for any newspaper. It doesn't matter. It could be the Chicago Tribune, the Miami Herald. And we bring him back to work. And he writes a story about the city council meeting, the high school. It doesn't matter, okay? We have categories for everything. What he does is submit the story. We publish it. And we control the publishing simply because we want to look at it to make sure nobody's doing anything porn, any porn or anything bad. But more importantly, Charlie, everybody who posts a story, it could be their kid's Little League game, thinks it's front page national news. So we have to put, because we sell ads, we have to put the content in the proper category and in the proper geography, right? So we distribute the content based on geographical relevance and by subject. That person will now get an email saying, Charlie, congratulations, you get them. Your article's been approved. Here's a direct link to your story. And what they do is they open the link to their story and they click on Facebook or Twitter or Amazon, or wherever the hell they want.
Then I share.
And they share it on social media, and their followers come to me to get it. And just FYI, last year we had 5.4 million people on our site. Okay. It's not rocket science. I'm basically Facebook for news with a YouTube monetization model component. So it's Facebook meets YouTube. Even though the content's completely different, that just simplifies the whole thing. Now, the interesting part, and this is what I love. So remember all the things you've seen over the last couple of years about the downsizing of media, and like this company just laid off 100 people and whatever. Okay.
I was part of that.
Yes.
2020.
If you have LinkedIn Navigator, so you have to have Navigator because they give you different numbers. When I go into my Navigator and I type in freelance journalists, but you can do it for the world, or you could do it for a country, you could do it for a county or a city if you wanted to. I could say how many people are out of work in Sacramento, and it'll tell me that. So I'm assuming freelancers for the most part means I need a job, right? I'm part of the downsizing. The last I looked, I've seen it as high as 480, but the last I looked, there were 460,000 freelance journalists on LinkedIn. Certainly not all of them were part of the downsizing, but I bet you 70 or 80% were. Okay. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So what we do is we bring these people on, and the content drives the readership. It's like, if anybody understands social media, it's real simple. The magic formula is content equals readership. Once you've aggregated all the content, you've got all the readers, the game's over. So that's why I said our goal will be to take all the content that flows out of the US, bring it under one umbrella, and create one uniform media. The interesting part of this, and I've talked to many journalists, like I spent an hour and a half on the phone with you, some of the stories you hear, like I talked to a woman in, I think it was Sarasota, and she was a news reporter, and she was really upset because stories that she works on for long periods of time that are spot on accurate about somebody in the community committing crimes, let's say a politician or something, and when they bring them to the editorial board, they won't run them. She's like, right. What? Okay.
Yes. Right.
How are you not running this? I mean, the people need to know this. Well, maybe they didn't want to upset the election here. I don't know what it was. So she didn't care about the money piece. She says, I just want to know that my stuff's going to be run. I said, yeah, not a problem. Okay. It's how it works. That was her biggest thing, but I hear it all the time. So right now we live in a world where the news that's disseminating out is being controlled by the 6 companies, right down to the local level. That is so screwed up. I can't even begin to tell you. So what our product does, because remember, the plan here, this is a guess, okay, but I'm probably pretty close. There are just under 20,000 cities in the United States. I think it's like 19,700, whatever. So make it 20,000. Some cities are going to need more news reporters than others, right? Like the city of Los Angeles is probably you could probably have 700 people, right? The city of New York, you could probably have 1,000. I don't even know. But for the most part, I think 5 people a city. Does that sound reasonable? So, some will need none. Okay. But, population 200, maybe need 1 and package it with something else. But my point is you're talking about 100,000 news reporters. Charlie, I'm going to ask you a question. Who do you think the largest news organization in the world is?
Well, in radio, it's iHeartMedia.
No. I'm talking about in terms of news reporters that do written news.
New York Times.
So it's bigger than that. It's going to be AP, right? I thought it was going to be Reuters. It was AP. And
Associated Press.
Associated Press, right?
My apologies. Okay,
now,
I get what you're saying. Gotcha.
Now, how many news reporters do you think AP has?
Not enough. And that's a big problem too.
You would think
make it 20, a staff of 20.
Okay, so they have about 3,000.
3,000.
Reuters has 2,500. Now, what I'm telling you is
they're not all on staff, though. They couldn't possibly be.
Well, no, if you look it up, they'll say, I'm going to look it up right now. How
Contributor?
How many reporters does, first I'm going to do Reuters, because Reuters are
By the way, when it comes to media, I've always been on the broadcast side. I don't know a lot about
That's all right. Reuters has 2,500. Reuters is news owned by Thomson Reuters, employs around 2,500 journalists, 600 photojournalists, in about 200 locations. Okay.
All on staff, or do they get paid per whatever they?
No,
they can't be making a monthly salary.
I have no idea.
There's just no way. They don't make enough money. There's not enough ad revenue to support that kind of staff.
I don't know. I'm just telling you what it says.
Okay, gotcha.
It's 2,500. Now, AP, how many employees does AP have? AP has employees 4.3 thousand. So, 4,300 people. But they're certainly not all reporters. I'm going to guesstimate probably about, 1,500 of them aren't. But just say, that's why I said 3,000, because they're a little bigger. At least they were. Now, by the way, the number was higher 2 years ago. It's coming down.
They're all part of the Borg, by the way, because they know
Yes.
if you want to keep your job, you're going to lean to the left, and you're not going to hide it, and you're going to make that part of every single thing that you report on. They use their words that they use and choose carefully, their power words to elicit emotion. They know all the tricks. They've gone through the journalism school at their local community college. They know all the tricks, and it's just that simple to learn them, by the way. So there's just don't think that just because there's sheer volumes and numbers of people bringing you all this different kind of news that they're going to be fair in their reporting. They're absolutely not.
No, and I like that you use the Borg, because I've used that too. I don't know if everybody knows what that is. The Star Trek Next Generation. It's all think like-minded, collective mind, right?
Right.
So yeah, and did you ever see the study that came out? I think it said 97 or 8% of the people who work for the mainstream media all vote Democrat.
Yeah.
You want to know why we're in the mess we're in? When you're talking, even if it's 90, really? So 9 out of 10 articles are going to be left leaning.
Right.
So what our product does is it completely decentralizes the news business and it democratizes it, because the guy that's writing the story about the mayor of Chicago that did all his investigative work, we're not going to fact check it. We are a platform, okay, which means we're covered under Section 230, okay? So all we do is disseminate it. He does the work. He's validating that it's his work and he did his job, but he has no gatekeeper to go through. That's the beauty of this, okay? And so look, if somebody points something out that it's not true, at that point in time, we look at it and then we call the journalist. And if it's something that maybe a mistake was made, we need a retraction or something. But if he's completely making false claims, I get to do what the tech giants did to you. We need to ban you. You've been banned. Okay. So, and I'm sure we're going to get some people that, sneak through the cracks and do something that's not particularly correct. The good
But
news,
you know how rare that is, though. That's how it used to be, Sam. What
yeah,
Sam just said doesn't happen in most mainstream media anymore. You can do glaring mistakes and lie throughout your entire career, but as long as it's on the left, you're going to keep working.
exactly. Yeah,
Somebody like me, no, you're out. We don't want your kind
it's
here.
just pushing an agenda is all it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Everybody knows it, and so that's why you have websites like Breitbart and The Hill and what is it called, Truth or News or True News and things like that
Frank
that are all
Speech, Mike
coming up.
Lindell.
Yeah, so Mike's got a great platform. General Flynn and Mark Shafleen has one with Patriot.tv. Mike Adams, who's one of my contributors, is Brighteon, right? But keep in mind, none of them are mainstream media, meaning you can't go to any of those platforms, Lindell or Patriot or Brighteon, and find out who won your kid's Little League game. You can't go there and find out about the bank robbery that happened in Chicago.
Right.
That's my point. What we do is mass media. And we have the ability to have millions of contributors.
And what I love about it too, Sam, unlike print, you don't have to wait a day or two until it comes out. You can go there. This is very immediate. And like radio and television has always been, especially radio, it can be there. Click, 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 right, send, post. It's on. That's fantastic. That's about as immediate as you can get with getting your information.
I'm going to tell you an interesting story that happened last week. We have two people running for a specific candidacy here in Palm Beach County. And one of them is my developer's sister. Okay. And she has all the endorsements from Trump. And, I'd have to go through and look at all these endorsements from all these, Matt Gaetz and all these people. Her competitor doesn't have any endorsements from any of them. I've talked to her before. She's very nice. Okay. I've talked to both of them. And she had an article that she put up about my developer's sister that was pointing out facts about when they made a donation to Matt Gaetz. And then a few days later, they got his endorsement. Right. And so ours is all about freedom of speech, right? I'm not here to decide as long as the article, if somebody doesn't come and say this is all not accurate. Well, it turns out it was all accurate. Okay. Which by the way, when I read the article, I went, so you don't like how the system works. Okay. So basically you don't have somebody who has enough money to be buying all these, her husband has got some money. And so they make campaign contributions, and likewise, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And so
next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire.
Change the system if you don't like it. But she didn't like the fact that, oh my God, she donated to this cause. And next thing you know, she gets an endorsement. Look, I get it. Okay. Both of them are very nice. Both of them would probably do a great job. It's just that one didn't have the money to keep up with the other. And that's the bottom line. And so when I published the article, I looked at my watch. I said, let's see how long before my database guy calls me. Okay. And so about 1 hour later, my phone rings. Now, let me tell you how it happened, because I know what happened was the article was published. It was shared on social media. It went viral. It got back to the other candidate who looked at it, who then called her brother because she knows he's involved with it, who then calls me. And when I picked up the phone, I said, I've been waiting for your call. Right? And he goes, yeah, you know about the, I go, yeah, I want to hear what you have to say. He says, this is exactly what the platform's all about. I didn't say anything wrong in there. I went, exactly. I knew you'd say that. That was it. It was factual evidence. Here's somebody did the work to do the homework to be able to publish all this stuff. Here was the timeline of how everything happened. And that was it. And we published it. So it puts the power of the press back in the hands of the people where it belongs. That's the most important thing. The article was never taken down. It was seen by thousands of people. But I didn't see it as anything damaging, simply because there was no slander. Okay, nothing whatsoever. And it was just reporting, here's the facts. This person made a donation to this person at this time. And lo and behold, a couple of days later, he got an endorsement. And look, it's how the system works.
Also, too, even let's say it was all conjecture. Every newspaper always had an editorial section. And I know you do too on yournews.com.
Yeah, opinions, right?
Yeah.
So, but they were coming at it as a real story, and somebody actually did the work, their homework, to come up with all this information to write the story, and basically said, form your own conclusion. How do you think she's your candidate? It's because she's basically buying everybody.
Wow.
Right. And
but that's the power of great media. That's how it used to be. They could actually expose these things. And you know what? We're just telling you what happened. And that's how it used to be, but not anymore. Those days are decades gone.
Now it's going to be whatever the media wants to ram down your throat, whatever agenda they want, whatever politician they want. So it's whatever it is, it's never going to work, because in another 7 or 8 years, none of them will exist. And what's going to end up happening is it's either going to be our platform that replaces them, or George Soros will build one and he'll replace them. That's it. Okay. But it definitely will be what we do. Like I said,
it'll be called Borg Broadcasting.
Borg, bro.
So, in the meantime,
good.
I want you to do well. I want you to continue. And I want people like you to continue and to do well, because we need this. I've been saying this for a while now, ever since the whole COVID shutdown. We have to start taking care of ourselves. We have to start giving people an alternative. And I'm glad to be you're in that alternative. I'm absolutely thrilled that I am part of that alternative media, because I don't like what the regular media is doing, and I don't agree with any of it. And I lost my career a lot because of my stance, not only politically, but for the Lord. And that there's no room for that in the mainstream media. Like I said in the very beginning, the power of the name, the simple power of the name of Jesus is almost overwhelming. So keep doing what you're doing. How can we get involved? And is there a way I can even invest? I don't have to pay anything to go to yournews.com. No. You don't charge a subscription for anybody to utilize the service. And I know you have ad revenue, but you're having to do all of this. This is huge. So to grow to the next level, you need some capital. Can we be involved?
Yeah. So I went to, what was it called? It was the Reawaken America tour in Miami, which was a while back. And when I was there, I was looking around. At the time on this show, they had over 5,000 people that showed up. And I'm looking around and I went, wow, okay, these are my people. Right? Like, these are the people that are passionate. They all come there to see people like you. Like, I'm in the background. Nobody knows who I am. No, I'm not a podcaster. I'm not an influencer. I'm just the guy who owns the platform that everybody's playing on. Right. And so I'm looking around, and they came to see, Ann Vandersteel and, General Flynn, and Laura Loomer was there, and, all the big names were there. And I said, these would be the people that really should be part of what I'm doing now. So for the audience, that if anybody doesn't know, when you look at the tech giants we have, like Facebook and Twitter and Amazon and Uber, all of them were funded by Silicon Valley. All of them were. By the way, Silicon Valley won't play with me. Want to know why? Go to yournews.com and look at the first freaking story. That's why. Okay. Because we don't fit into their agenda. They want nothing to do with it. Now they will later. Trust me. I'm coming. Okay. But that being said, they capitalize these companies with massive amounts of money. They bring in the proper management team and they scale them. Okay. You need money to grow these businesses. It's the only way it's going to work. It works at an accelerated pace, right? With our product, I really don't need to prove anything anymore. We've got advertisers, we've got contributors, and the marketplace is completely ripe, because out of 500,000 news reporters, you don't think I could get 10% of them? 50,000? Oh my God. Okay. You're talking millions of people a day coming to view that content. Out of all the podcasts, I don't care if you have a home and garden show, a food and wine show, a sports show. I got all the categories. It's irrelevant. We just created a faith section, right? All of a sudden I'm starting to get faith content coming in. The point is that you're talking about millions of potential contributors. That's why I said I'm Facebook for news with a YouTube component. That's how you get massive. But the problem is, when you're bringing that many people on, like, I'm just going to give you a number. If I brought on 10,000 news reporters, the average piece of content, when people share them, is going to be read by probably 400 or 500 people. So if it's 500 people, you're talking about 5 million people a day coming to the site. I mean, at that moment in time, you're the largest news organization, period. Okay. Nobody has that kind of traffic. That's with 10,000. That's not, you haven't even scratched the surface. That's like one news reporter for half the country, for like out of the 10,000 cities, right? You haven't even done anything. Okay. That could be 10,000, could be just be for New York, the state of New York. So as you start scaling this, you need to have tech in place that's going to be able to handle this. We have a beta site that we built, which handles it fine, as long as it could probably push the 750,000 to 1 million a month mark. Right. But, certainly not 5 million in a day. It would just break the whole system and never be able to handle it. So all that stuff needs to be put in place. You need to bring in a management team that needs to be able to scale all this. All that stuff costs money. On top of it, I'm looking around at the Reawaken America tour and I'm saying to myself, if we're a news organization that's by the people, for the people, shouldn't the people own the product? Right. I mean, because if I were to go to institutional players or hedge funds, which my lawyer runs a hedge fund, okay, and get the money from him, because he already told me, look, I'm interested. I'm making the same mistake the legacy media did, right? Because now who am I beholden to? So what we decided to do, no kidding, okay, I'm not stupid. I would rather
please don't ever go public.
We actually are.
You're going to go public?
And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, because they got rid of power.
It's so easy for the left to buy up shares, and next thing you know, they've got a place on the board, and they're commanding and demanding who else you have to put on the board.
So I got this all covered. The people that I'm going to have on the board, like right now, it's me. Okay, and I need to have 5 people that are exactly like me. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you who the people are that I'm going to be bringing on. Okay, but all I can tell you is you will like them. They're going to be people that are very like-minded to my values and what I see. Because what I don't want is, remember.
Good, because you're a blessing and you're a rarity. And please don't stop.
I'm going to be a thorn up their ass is what I'm going to do. Okay. And it's not really me. It's the news reporters. Okay. Right. They're the ones doing all the work. We're just the vehicle to get it out that's uncensored.
Yeah.
It's really them. So as I was saying, if we're a news organization that's supposed to be by the people, for the people, shouldn't the people own the product? So what we decided to do for some people, none of you have ever got a call from Silicon Valley saying, hey, we got this thing called Facebook we're going to be launching. Would you like to buy 50-cent stock or $1 stock? It just doesn't happen. It all goes to the good old boys, the institutional players. They're the ones that make all the money. And when they sell it to you, it's when it's going public. And by the way, the reason I want to do a public offering, it's one thing to shut down Parler that has 6 investors. It's another thing to shut down something that's got millions of investors. Won't ever happen. They won't do it. So it's only for defensive purposes only.
Good. Okay, good.
Only for believe me, I do not like regulation at all. Okay. So the board is important because the board has to control the management team. They work for the board. And so there has to be, call it a constitution put in place, and these are the bylaws of the company, and they cannot be circumvented, because I know what's going to happen. You're going to have a management team in there that's building the United States, but then you're going to need a different team for the globe. And that different team, for all I know, I could bring on some guy that's a liberal. They start building this thing up into a behemoth, and next thing they know, they start changing the culture. So you have to have a board in place like me going, what did you do? Okay, get out. You're fired. Okay. I don't really care. This is not the culture. The culture is freedom of speech. It's putting the power to press back in the hands of the people where it belongs. That's the end of it. So that's where my head's at, in case anybody wants to know. But we decided to go with something called an equity crowdfund. And what an equity crowdfund is it allows anybody to be able to participate. You do not need to be an accredited investor.
Angel Studios has used that to make some pretty blockbuster movies now.
So so we decided to do a $5 million raise, and that $5 million raise, the minimum investment could be as simple as $200. Now, so in other words, nobody's priced out of this thing, right? They could spend $200 to buy $200 worth of stock. They could spend 20 grand. They could spend 200 grand. They could spend 2 million. It's all based on the individual. And if you're making $1 million a year and you put in $500 and you get 10 times your money, you didn't even feel it. So those people will invest more than somebody that's making 20 grand a year. But the point is, we want to put the power of the press in the hands of the people. I want millions of people to own this thing, and I want them to dictate where we go. So I'm beholding to the people.
Awesome, man.
That's it. Not a hedge fund.
Right.
That's why we're doing it this way. I thought it was the smarter way to go. It's a little harder, but here's what I'm thinking. With the horsepower we have, Charlie, I've got probably a reach of around, if you're talking all the podcasts and everything I do, which I'm not, 5-6 million people. One of the new podcasters we just picked up, I told you, has somewhere between 150,000 people an episode. 150,000. So let's say it's 125. We need, what I'm guessing is the average person on a minimum level is probably going to spend $1,000. You know, somebody could spend 200, somebody could spend 20 grand. It'll be probably more than 1,000, but I'm guessing it'll be about 1,000. 5,000 people investing 1,000 is 5 million, right? That's the way we want to work this thing. So I'm guessing like him could probably bring us 0.5% of his people's almost 1,000 people. Right.
All the people who gave money in the smaller amounts, like you're talking about, to Angel Studios, this brand new startup Christian film company, and then along comes what was that movie with Jim Caviezel in it? Dang it, about the child trafficking. The name escaped me.
Freedom something. Was that it?
That was, yes. That was such a powerful movie. And I feel badly I can't remember the name. But you're screaming it at the screen right now, I know. But I can't remember it. But imagine all those people who got, with the crowdfunding thing that you're talking about, who got involved, what they've gotten in return. And that's between you and them and the Lord, how you want to invest in something that is not controlled by huge, giant corporations, which we know for the most part where their loyalties lie. And it's definitely not with the truth. It's definitely not with God and God's people. And it's definitely nowhere near the right. I don't want to give a dime or any amount of attention to them if I can now at this point. I don't even watch network news anymore. I don't watch my local news anymore. You get it all now online, not subscribed by some huge corporation that's telling you everything that you can think and see and hear. I'm done with that. I've fired them. I fired the big corporations. I buy American-made products. I'm doing it online now. I'm doing it like freedomswitchusa.com/Lee. Check that one out. And mypillow.com/Lee. American-made products supporting patriots who are taking it to the streets, like Sam Anthony at yournews.com. So how do we get involved if we want to participate, if we want to play?
Well, we will have the equity crowdfund link ready to go very soon. When I say very soon, it could be this afternoon. I mean, like tomorrow is probably even, the longest, but it's coming. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to start allowing investors to come in. And what I do want to tell your audience is the world we live in has changed dramatically. So, depending on your age, what you've seen, there's two ways, as I was telling Charlie, to solve this problem. One is through a violent revolution, which none of us want. Okay. We'll win. Okay. It'll probably take an hour or two, and that'll be about the end of it. But that's not what you want. The second way is to control information. That's the only way to do it, because you're only as smart as the information you're receiving. So if somebody's giving you bad information, you can only make your decisions based on what you think you know or what you know. So what's going to happen is that legacy media is all going to be gone. And what will replace it will be a product like mine. It's either going to be me or somebody else that you don't want. So the reason I'm telling you this is, if you want to save the Republic and you don't want to do it through violence, this is the only solution. What I actually do will solve the problem. I am 100% correct on that.
Yeah, I know you are.
Yeah.
Been in the business my whole life, and I know the power of it.
Oh, God.
And thank God, there are still some people who are like, you know what, agree or disagree. We need to just tell them what's happening and show them. Otherwise, you're going to get a revolt and a revolution, exactly what we're seeing now. As I started the show over there in England, what's happening, what's going to happen here in the United States of America when over 20 million are some of the numbers now coming out, over 20 million just since Biden took office, illegal aliens. What's going to happen when the freebies dry up? What's going to happen when we're not giving them a free place to live and free healthcare and free everything else that they're getting? How do you think they're going to react? Most of them know that when they crossed over that borderline, it was illegal. Despite what the president said, it's still against the law. We have a lawless administration that's allowing it to go on. Over 20 million. Think about the enormity of that. How many people are just here in the state of California alone? We got like 30 million. That is a third of the state of California, the population, just spread out throughout the United States of America.
Crazy,
And
isn't
all
it?
of them getting these freebies. What do you think is going to happen when those freebies dry up?
Well, it depends. Is Trump going to be elected? Because when he
Right.
gets elected, it's going to dry up, but they ain't going to come out and complain because they're all going to be in one location to be deported. So that
To
ain't
be
gonna-
deported. Exactly. He's exactly right. But either way, it is going to dry up. It's not sustainable. We're already trillions of dollars in debt. The state of California is billions of dollars in debt. The numbers they've been giving us over the years have been lies and deceptions. So I want to put my focus, like what Sam's saying. I don't want to take up arms, even just to defend my property against marauders. I want to try and make a change now, and that's through giving you information. Here's what's happening. How are you going to respond? You can actually get registered to vote. There's a good start. And actually get involved what's going on and who's calling the shots for us. Are you going to take that responsibility seriously? I would rather do it through information, and that's why I like guys like Sam Anthony. I want your news to do well. You already are, but I want it to be huge.
Charlie,
I want
what
it
do
to
you
be to where people go, oh, did you see your news? Oh, did you check out your news? Or where'd you get that story? Yournews.com.
Just remember, Charlie, you're the soldier out there, okay? And as I tell people, there wouldn't be a Tucker Carlson or a Laura Ingraham or a Sean Hannity if it wasn't for the network, okay? It was the network that made the money, which then paid these people. Remember, what I am is the network, okay? Where I could have millions of people contributing, but localize it all. Where now you're exposed to that many more people. Think of all the, let's forget the legacy media and all the layoffs. There's still colleges out there, right? And there's still people that go to journalism school at every college. Let me ask you a question since you've been in the business. Who the hell's going to hire these people when they come out? Nobody. No, there's nowhere to go. Nobody's hiring.
Colleges are still offering, they still have college radio stations because they're going to train you to be a DJ.
Oh my God.
Good luck with that.
As I tell these journalists, I say, look, it's either going to be my platform or practice these words. Welcome to McDonald's, may I take your order? Because there's nobody else hiring. So Charlie, remember this statement. It's going to be all about your social media following in the future, because when your monetization comes from the audience you have that you could bring to the table, I know guys like you are not salesmen. You're the talent. And remember, in the newsroom, you had the talent and you had the salespeople, right? Mm-hmm. And both said, without me, you're not going to make it. And the other one says, no, without me, you're not going to make it. Well, they're both right. Okay.
So right.
So this guy needs this guy to make a sale, and vice versa. This guy needs to pay his bills, and this guy's selling for him. We're the salesman for you. So we're the platform where the money comes in, and people don't tag it to Charlie. They tag it to a specific type of content that Charlie's going to be under. When Charlie has a viewer watching his show on our network, Charlie racks up money. Make sense?
Yeah.
What I have, the world needs.
Sam shares a portion with all contributors of the advertising dollars that he brings in. And that is almost unheard of anymore. It's like he said earlier, it's monetization. So my fellow podcasters, go to yournews.com, look up Sam Anthony and tell him I sent you. Worth it, worth the effort. And I thank you for offering yet another platform and a way for us to get information.
Welcome. One more
Sound
thing.
of Freedom, by the way, Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom. One more thing I want to tell you.
Yeah.
So we created a new company. The new company is called Nico Ventures Inc. Did I tell you that?
No, NICO, Nico.
Now it's okay. So you know how Fox News is owned by News Corp?
Yeah.
News Corp owns, I don't remember, like if you look up how many companies I think it's like 160 or something like that. News Corp is the holding company, and they own all these independent things. Your News is owned by Nico Ventures. Nico Ventures is a holding company. So what we plan on doing is a roll up of all the different publishing companies, but verticals. So like somebody could, I don't know anything about horse racing news. Do you? Okay. But there's people out there that have horse. So you roll them up, you acquire them, bring them under your umbrella. Now you have great horse racing news, right? I'm mainstream media. So guess what the definition of the word Nico is and why we went with it. It means victory of the people.
It's like short for something or abbreviation?
Well,
What do you mean?
Nico is a Greek name, but if you type in
Okay, I didn't know
Google,
that. I was thinking it was an acronym. So is it spelled NICO?
NICO, and then you put definition, and you'll see victory of the people is what it means.
I love
That's
it.
why we went with that. Like, we got to go with this.
That's good. That's real good. And find that crowdfund link and get involved. You got a few grand. I'd be buying into this.
We will get it to you shortly, and then once I get it to you, you could disperse it.
Definitely, I will. Yournews.com. In the meantime, start getting your news, your podcasts, your video presentations. What I love about what you do too is how you can hyper localize it. That's amazing. My area now, the dominant newspaper, really the only one left, which is a flaming lefty group of Marxist clowns. You have to subscribe just to be able to read online content because nobody's buying their newspaper, really. No, thank you. I'll just go to yournews.com. Well done, my friend. Well done. I appreciate you more than you know. And I hope that you will start getting your information from Sam Anthony and his crew at yournews.com, including seeing my shows there. All right, partner, anything else I left out?
No, I think that's it. Charlie's content, by the way, is run nationally. When you log into yournews.com, you'll see multimedia. And if you mouse over it, you'll see Your News videos. Those are all the conservative political videos. And there's hundreds of people that post to that page. So you can get all kinds of content out of there.
I don't know how you do it, frankly, because your attention to detail is amazing. I a little over 2 years ago now got pneumonia so badly that it almost killed me. I was really it was a month-long battle, and I'm getting a text from Sam. He goes, "Hey, you haven't posted in a while. Is everything okay?"
I remember
that. Like, dude, you're running this gigantic company and you're noticing I haven't been posting any shows. So I had to write back, go, "No, I'm nearly dead. Thanks for asking." But you're amazing to me. I don't know how you do it. You have a far greater mind than I. But I really appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
you. We appreciate you, man. I mean, you're the soldier that's out in the field. All I'm doing is creating a business model to sustain you. That's it. You're really the guy that's, out there doing it. You're reporting the news. I'm just the vehicle to get it reported where you can monetize from. Remember that. So I could have 1 million of you, but all those people coming in exposes your brand to that many more people.
Well, it's been a blessing. And I want to have you on again real soon.
Yes, I'll see you tomorrow.
So many other things. Oh, so many other things. Yeah, really. I'll be on again tomorrow. There's so many other things we didn't even get into that I'm fascinated with. It all has to do with news and presentation and how you vet not only content, but also advertisers. You got to be careful of that because you're building an audience of people like me that are like, I got an alternative and I don't have to rely on big bloated corporate networks anymore. But I don't want to see teach your child to make great money dancing in the nude in the rain. I don't want to see that on that platform. I don't want to see that company in that commercial, but yet I don't have any control, just like network television now. I mean, look, anyone who watched the beginning of the Olympics.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
There's a fine example.
I watched nothing.
They're not just spoon feeding you it anymore. They've turned on the fire hose. They're squirting it right into your household. Demonic. I don't want that, but NBC does. They want that big money, and everyone else who's running the Olympics. I hope, I haven't seen any numbers. Maybe I hope that their viewership is dismal. I hope their ratings suck and that nobody's watching the Olympics or caring anymore.
Charlie,
That's what I hope.
I'm with you. I didn't watch anything. I watch golf every weekend. Obviously, they were all there for the most part, right? So I didn't even turn it on. I could care less what happened. And it's all because of what they stand for. That's it. And so they basically shove it down your throat. So what we need to do is do it right back.
We'll save that. Let's talk about that again next time I have you on. This is Sam Anthony, yournews.com. See you soon, my friend.
Thank you, Charlie.
Absolutely. I am Charlie Simons, and I thank you so much for sharing and getting involved in this show. And you can help too financially and help this show grow. And that's at venmo.com/do not talk. Venmo.com/do not talk, and support the advertisers that support this show, like freedomswitchusa.com/Lee. Over 400 American made products, and they're big like me into all natural, no chemicals in their products for your body, for your home. It's amazing how much they have, including food, a lot of food, grass-fed beef from an actual ranch in Idaho where they're based out of, Idaho Falls, Idaho. It's freedomswitchusa.com/Lee. Please go there, get involved. You'll thank me for it. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. Most importantly, though, America, bless